Hi, everybody. Welcome to March. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, and I honestly can't believe it. Time is flying. And so this week I've been thinking a lot about this idea of humility in leadership. And, there's a lot of talk out there as, the big snippets like top five ways to be a better leader. And being humble is always there. But similar to self awareness, we don't often really question why that is and how do you get there. I find a lot of discussion around leadership just talks about different traits. And it's not really helpful because if we don't internalize the why, we're not going to be able to step into being kind of courageous about our changes and really making a difference. So I wanted to talk about humility a little bit. And if any of you, those of you who know me, you know that I like to live in an and world. So they're really trying to, I think it's important for us to try to move away from binary thinking. You're either this or you're that. And what's interesting is the important part of being humble and having humility has to be paired with confidence. And so it's really important to live in that sweet spot of being confident, but also having humility. And the reason for that is because humility allows us to learn and relearn and to question the status quo, which of course helps us to improve, to get better safety outcomes by it helps us to get into the innovation type of mindset. But we also need to have confidence in order to feel comfortable in that humility. And so some leaders kind of go to one extreme or the other, right? So if they think that if I'm humble, therefore I'm weak and I'm not being an effective leader, or, I'm too confident and it's kind of that top down, blind, confidence type of kind of how that presents itself. And this started to come to me actually, interestingly, over the weekend. I drove my son back after his spring break. He's at Royal Military College in Kingston, Ontario, in Canada. And the weather was horrible. And so I was the primary driver, but I did get him to help me a little bit once we kind of got past the really bad whiteout conditions, but the roads were still kind of tricky, and we were slowed way down. And so I, tried to explain and express how important it is to really kind of be careful through that. And he's 19 and he's a good driver, but he was kind of had that like blind confidence, and it got me thinking. He's in this. Experience now where he's learning. He's an emerging leader, right? So he's second year, he's going to be an officer in the Canadian Armed Forces, and he's learning about leadership. And I thought, I think many of us, when we learn leadership and what it means we have to be confident. And this whole idea of fake it until you make it, it's very, very dangerous. And so, I encourage you to kind of reflect a little bit on that in your own ways of working and in your behavior. How are you showing and behaving in a way that creates an environment where you can first question yourself, you encourage others to question you, that's tricky, and you open things up to an environment where questioning the status quo, questioning for better results becomes the norm. That's how we get to high performing teams. That's how we create a culture where, we're going to attract and retain the best people. That's how we get to better safety outcomes. That's how we get to innovation, how we get to continuous improvement, how we get to better client and patient centered kind of care and service. It's by questioning and listening. And so I encourage you to think about that, think about your own humility, and let me know what you think of this and if you've seen it in your day to day and if you struggle with it. And this kind of symbiotic relationship between confidence and humility. Okay, I wish you all a good rest of the week. Safe travels out there for those of you who are on the wintry roads like I've been. And we'll talk to you next time.